Hi folks, thanks for joining. As I began this series on making bioplastics with milk, I've had some interest from a couple of folks who wanted to learn more about how to make jewelry with casein. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do that next. Now, to make jewelry, you're going to need to make some molds. So that's where we're going to start. And I'm going to make a couple of different kinds of molds. Okay, I'm going to make a casting mold using cornstarch and silicone, and then I'm going to make a pourable version of silicone for the highly detailed stuff. So this is where we're going to start. Okay. So the first mold that I'm going to show you how to make is a simple casting mold, and you've seen this done many times on YouTube using cornstarch and silicone. So we're going to go over everything here. The type of silicone that you want to use is the stuff where acetic acid is evolved in curing. So you want to look for the word acetic acid. Now it's the less expensive type, but you also want to make sure that it says 100% silicone. Okay? And the white is fine. Okay. Cornstarch. And I'm just using a, it's not an exact measurement, I'm just using a cup that I think will fit down inside this box. And something that I do to keep from making a mess, it works very well, is I put everything in a Ziploc bag. I clip the corner and I squeeze it out once I've mixed it together, much like pastry chef would icing a cake. The mold that I've chosen is just a simple stainless steel ring, and I've clipped a couple of pieces of Teflon. Now if you don't have Teflon, there are other options. Something that you may have in the kitchen now is a silicone baking mat. That'll work very well. I've also chosen a piece of vinyl sheeting. This is something that you'll want to find at Lowe's, Home Depot, a place like that. So here's what we're going to do, is I'm going to show you the process. You're going to want to clip this back pretty far with a knife. Alright. Now inside here is a foam seal, and you'll need to pierce that. A couple times should do very nicely. Now don't squeeze the silicone into a corner because it will be just too difficult to get the cornstarch down inside. What I like to do is just aim for the center of the bag near the bottom and squeeze out a quantity that I think is going to fill the mold. And that's all we need to do with that. And now the cornstarch, the more you add, the faster it is going to dry. However, even a little bit is going to move pretty fast for you. You'll need to be ready because it will be completely set once the cornstarch hits the silicone in about 15 minutes. Seal it up. All contained, no mess. And just work it. Now, work it fast. Like I said, it starts drying just as soon as the cornstarch hits the silicone. Work it vigorously. Pardon the noise. Now once you see that the silicone or the cornstarch is taken up by the silicone, you're done. A little more. And squeeze the silicone out of a corner. Clip it. And simply work your silicone down into the corner. Okay. Squeezing as you go, and I can feel it's begin to harden up already. So as I said, you don't have a lot of time. Excuse the edit, folks. What I seem to love doing, and I can't help myself at times, is to get my head in a shot. So this is an edit, and I have made another batch, and we're going to go over this again, so that you can see it squeeze out. Okay. Now the value of casting is what typically is done is you squeeze out a portion, you insert your jewelry. I don't have any jewelry, but I do have a wire nut. But I'm going to save that for another. So here's the squeeze out. And typically what I have trouble with these kind of molds is filling the voids. Now another kind would be just simply to squeeze a little bit out like this, okay? Plop it down. I'm using the vinyl this time just to smush it down just a bit, which did not work, but there you have it. And here we are, no time at all. About 10 minutes. It's already set. Now the value of using the cornstarch with silicone is just so you can cast very thick silicone and it'll dry quickly. if you don't use the silicone, the cornstarch in the silicone, it takes a considerable amount of time for the silicone to set up inside. The way it dries is it forms a shell, and once the shell is formed, it's difficult for the oxygen to seep through the silicone to get to the center to dry it. So when you add the cornstarch, that eliminates that problem. So here's the first one that I made. The Teflon, it peeled right off. We're going to peel this off right now. And it comes right off cleanly. As you can see, it just rolls right off. Okay, now here we go with this one that we cast onto the vinyl. And here is our little piece. It's already set. And you just pull it out. And that would be what you could use to make jewelry. It's a nice little star pattern. That's why I thought it might work for this video. Okay, we're going to move on to another type of mold I want to show you. And here we are. We're going to make a pourable silicone mold now. That's useful in finely detailed patterns, things like that that you may want to make. Now what we have here are everything we're going to need to make pourable silicone. The same silicone as before. This product contains acetic acid. Look for the word acetic acid on the back. Acetic acid is evolved during curing. This is the stuff that you want. We're also going to be using Naptha. There are a few other products that you can use, mineral spirits, mineral turpentine, white gas, to name a few. We have the bowl, got some stirring sticks, and I'm just going to pour out onto this plate here a quantity just so you can see how thin you can make it. Now you can buy a 2-part pourable silicone online. It's a 2-part mix, costs you roughly $40, and you will receive a quantity that would pretty much fill this, about 10 ounces thereabouts. These two products together is $13. So you're going to save a lot of money if you thin your own silicone and pour it. So here we go. We're going to get started now. Same as before. Cut the top off. Here's the shell. Load it into your caulk gun. That's ready to go. I want to caution you about the naphtha. It is very flammable stuff, and the odors are going to be objectionable. You'll want to use this in a well ventilated area. Now the vapors alone are extremely flammable. If you do make a mess and you clean it up, keep in mind that the thing that you use, paper towel, becomes extremely flammable. It volatilizes off of a surface like a paper towel or a wiping cloth much more quickly. So what you use to clean it up is actually more dangerous, flammable, than what is in the can. So you keep that in mind. After you clean up your mess, you'll want to soak your paper towel down with water before you throw it into the trash. And I'm doubling up on my gloves. Now, if you're not in a well ventilated area, you'll want to even use a respirator for this. So. And they make these things impossible to open up. So we're going to try this first, but it's not very strong. No. I'm going to pause this video and get a jackhammer on this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour out some of the naphtha first, okay? And this, otherwise the silicone just sticks to the glass. So just pour it a little bit. I'm not really going to give you any ratios because it's going to be a by eye sort of thing for you. You're going to assess it for yourself, how thin you want it. And I am not going to bore you with watching me thin it, but I'm going to show you how to get it started. Just keep mixing it. It's going to take a little bit of stirring. And you see how the naphtha is thinning the silicone. So I'm going to pause the video here, and I'm going to get this mixture to the consistency that I want, and I'm going to come back and I'm going to pour it out for you so you can see that. Off camera I added just a slight bit more of silicone. I stirred, and once it began to thin, it worked in very nicely, as you can see. Okay, pour it out. The set time on a silicone mold like this is about 24 hours. I have not tried to add the cornstarch to it. I think it would be a detriment to the goal of making a finely detailed mold. So, and you'll want to pour thin. And there we have it. As you saw, I didn't use very much of this, so if you pour a lot of molds like I do, this is a great cost-saving method. Alrighty, so there you have it. A couple of ways to use silicone to make molds for whatever you want. We made a casting mold. Now, typically what they would do is they would cut in a saw to peel this open to get the article out, and then this can be reused hundreds of times. And here's a slight demonstration of what it would do. And then we also made a pourable silicone for finely detailed articles. I hope this has been helpful to you. If it has, then join us again. Same geo time, same geo channel. Bye-bye.